Hello, and welcome to Epworth Bible Moments. This is a warning ahead of time. This episode contains sexually explicit language and may not be appropriate for small children. The story of Noah, the ark, the flood, and the covenant, symbolized by the rainbow, ends in chapter 9 with a story that is impossible for us to understand based on all that we know so far from the Bible. If all that we knew were chapters 1 through 8. It's impossible to understand without knowing about some of the 613 commandments given to Moses beginning in Exodus 20's list of the 10 commandments. And it is impossible to understand without knowing how the ancient Israelites eventually made their way into Canaan, the land of the Canaanites, through the bloody conquest described in the books of Joshua and Judges. In fact, we must read all of the book of Genesis in this back and forth way, knowing that these early books, called primeval stories or prehistory, were not written or edited until much later. Thus, their telling and writing and final editing were filtered through the lens of history, with all the political, historical, and religious biases that influence that filter. We know that history from future books of the Bible. In one of the many laws of sexuality that we find in Exodus, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy, let's look at Leviticus 18, verse 7. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father. This passage goes on to prohibit uncovering the nakedness of other family members, mother, father's wife, sister, nieces or nephews, aunts or uncles, and on, including you shall not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness while she is in her menstrual uncleanness. Now, this phrase, uncover the nakedness, is a euphemism for sexual intercourse, just as we see other euphemisms in the Bible, such as he took his wife or he knew his wife. Now, what's happening in this Noah story? Noah enjoyed the harvest of his vineyard a little too much and got drunk. The Bible tells us that Shem, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. We later find in chapter 10 that Shem was indeed the father of Canaan, along with Cush, Egypt, and Put. Those were his other sons. Read chapter 10 and see all the names that correspond to lands and cities in the Bible, such as Egypt, Cush, Sheba, and so on. Then the Bible tells us that Shem saw his father's nakedness, but his brothers did not. In fact, the good sons entered the tent backwards with a cloak to cover their father's nakedness. The Bible says when Noah awoke from his wine and, listen to this, knew what his youngest son had done to him, he said, cursed be Canaan, lowest of slaves shall he be to his brother. Well, what did Shem do that deserved a curse? Accidentally enter the tent and find his father drunk and naked? Or is the implication, as in all the references to uncover thy nakedness, is the implication that he committed some sort of sexual act? Yes, and I would say, because this is a prime example of biblical foreshadowing and justification of the wickedness of the Canaanites, or justification in the belief of the wickedness of the Canaanites, who inhabited the land which God promised to the Israelites. Join us next time for Epworth Bible Moments.